Okay, today I invited you on my channel to talk about a very, very deep and simple subject, the subject of symbolism and how we can interpret symbolism. Okay, in your opinion, before maybe the occult knowledge, before you went into this knowledge, what were you thinking when you used to see symbols? Yes, what were you thinking?
Okay. Actually, before I got into occultism, symbolism, the way I see symbols is just like as we say, symbol, something representing something that is used to represent an idea. When we grew up, when we were like babies going to church, our parents say the first symbol I say actually knew was the cross,
Okay.
the cross sign of Christianity. That this cross represents God, the religion, and Jesus Christ came from heaven to die for our sins. And he died on the cross. They always emphasize this, he died on the cross, he died on the cross so many times. So I saw this cross as a source of hope, a source of power, a source of saving us, that if not for this cross, we will not be alive. So in Christianity, we practically worship the cross. In fact, Christians worship their cross. We are designed to worship that symbol. We believe that the symbol is the solution to all our problems. So that is the one of the most powerful symbols, I will say, in this part of the world that I grew up in. When you see that cross sign, you will see that it is your God. You see people bowing down to the cross, people reverencing the cross, people doing every sort of thing. We practically worship that cross as Christians. So, as growing up, we begin to see other signs that this sign is very sacred to Christianity. Then Muslims too have the crescent moon. I believe that Muslims will also venerate that moon because they do not play with their own symbol. So from time to time, as I begin to grow up, I begin to see other symbols. You see products having symbols. You discover that many things have symbols too, and it simply represents their products. So that is how I grew up knowing about symbols. That symbol is something you use to represent your products or to represent an idea, so that when people see the symbol, their mind will naturally associate with that idea you are trying to pass across to them. So I will say symbols are used to represent ideas or qualities quite naturally.
Okay, perfecto. What do you think about the swastika symbol, the one made infamous by the occultist Hitler? What do you think about that symbol?
Okay, you mean the swastika?
Yes.
Yes. I also grew up knowing the swastika before I even knew about Hitler.
Oh, okay.
We from Africa, growing up in the 80s, we were made to associate or to see the swastika as a symbol of death, as a symbol of evil.
Oh, okay.
So anytime we see that sign, they say that this sign was a symbol used by the people that tried to kill so many people in the world, to commit genocide, and they are evil people. And this sign is their symbol, and so this swastika is an evil sign. So anytime where we see that sign, we look at it as an evil sign, and now the sign has been associated with evil. It was later that I grew up in life that I discovered that the sign was actually a good symbol that was used to represent good ideas in ancient India that was taken by Hitler, and he decides to use that sign for world domination. So I can say that the sign have now been perfected for an evil purpose now. So anywhere you see that sign, people naturally associate it with evil, with Hitler, with Nazism, and now it's not an evil sign.
Definitely, it's not an evil sign. It's a very powerful symbol of Ganesha. That's why he was able to do most of his things. because that sign is an opener of the way in some sort. So I also think it's a positive sign. I also want to notify the listeners of something. I'm doing a collaboration here with Efe. He's a practitioner of African spirituality. Please, we are different practitioners, but the goal of spirituality is going back into wholeness and oneness, and the goal of spirituality is the same. Please respect his views as he is an African spiritual practitioner, and please respect my views. We are uniting here in one common goal of spirituality. We are not here to argue or do anything that will make you feel emotional in a certain type of way. Please respect us as we respect each other in our spiritual practice. Now, for the next question, I'd like to ask, what is the Merkabah? Yes, what is the Merkabah? Sure, you do know.
The Merkabah?
Yes.
Merkabah. Okay. I think that should be from Judaism, right?
Yes.
Merkabah. Yeah. It is one of their symbols. I think it kind of represents the deity. I don't really know much about that, the Judaism practice, but I have read about it in some books. It talks about a kind of, how will I say, a cube.
Okay.
Can be some sort of a power cube that something you want to call like energy source from God that is used to kind of power a certain aspect of their spirituality.
Okay.
So I don't really have much idea about it, but I know they mentioned something about the Merkabah, like a tetrahedron cube that have multiple shapes, geographical, logical shapes that have certain aspects in spirituality. We can relate that away in African spirituality to be a form of dark matter essence, a symbol that represents the creation of life or regeneration of life to a certain extent. So it can be something that actually have to do with life regeneration, as in dark matter consciousness in a certain way.
Oh, okay. So do you think, okay, this is another question. Do you think that symbols can be stolen and hijacked and used for a different purpose, and then they
Yes,
are
of course.
okay, yes.
Yes, certainly. Just like the swastika that we are talking about just now, the swastika was an ancient Hindu symbol for good luck, for reincarnation, regeneration. That was hijacked by Hitler, and they tried to use it to dominate the world, to commit evil, to commit genocide. So evil symbols can naturally be hijacked and changed over time. We also have the symbol of the cross. It was not the original symbol of Christianity. It was hijacked from another ancient symbol of meaning the crossing points of the celestial bodies in the solar system. So it's a situation whereby the sun is trying to move from one, let's say the equinoxes, where the equinox will meet together to align. So there's as a symbol of the celestial crossing of the sun. Have to do something, it has something to do like that. So that cross sign was taken by the Christians and hijacked and used as a symbol to represent Jesus Christ dying on the cross.
Okay.
So it was not a Christian symbol.
The reason why I ask this is because, okay, deep within our minds, within our subconscious or unconscious level, we do recognize these symbols and they do mean a certain thing to us unconsciously, because it was something that was not created by human intelligence, definitely. It was something that was used to interpret the higher faculties and higher spirituality. So I'm asking this because how is it possible that one can steal a symbol, and then instead of it hitting a subconscious level of activating that spiritual aspect of it, instead it is used for low level purposes. So I was trying to reconcile that. That's why I was asking if it was.
What I understand by that is that the symbol, any symbol can use to represent any idea.
Okay.
So you can use that the same symbol that you use to represent a higher idea to also represent lower idea as well. So it's all based on the interpretation.
Oh.
So the interpretation is what matters. So some people might look at the swastika and they will see evil, they will see all the bad things that happened during the World War II, the Holocaust of the Jews. And some people, maybe from India, we also see that symbol and they will see the perfection of the universe. That we see nature in progress. That we see life blossoming. That we see good things coming to them. So it's all based on the interpretation. So any symbol can mean anything. We see this idea in, let's say, the Hank in ancient African spirituality. The Hank sign represents life, represents the coming of the male and female principle. People in African spirituality see it as the key of life. It's a very sacred symbol. But Christians or people that are not in African spirituality see it as a sign of evil. The way they look at it, they see it as a serious sign of evil and something very dangerous and should not be even displayed or talked about. The same way they see the eye of Horus. When you see the eye of Horus, we see it as the eye of wisdom. We see it as the eye of enlightenment, of awakening. But when Christians see the eye of Horus, they say this is the eye of Satan. This is the eye of the beast. So one symbol, different interpretation. We see this kind of thing in occultism, in Western occultism, when people see the pentagram. In black magic, when they see the pentagram, they see it representing the 5 elements of life, and they see it as a powerful symbol of invoking spirits or evoking deities, and they use it for that purpose. But when Christians see the pentagram, it represents serious evil to them, evil, bad luck, death, and destruction. So one symbol, multiple meanings, depending on what you think about it. That is what matters.
Okay, definitely. Talking about the pentagram is the shape equivalent of the number 5. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it represents the 5 elements of nature: earth, water, fire, air, and spirit. So that is what his pentagram is simply representing. Nothing more, nothing less.
So is it safe to say this, since that it represents the 5 elements? Is it safe to say that it's a symbol of magic? Is a symbol where you use it's a symbol which you use to actually cause change, because creation is basically formulated out of these 5 elements. Is it safe to say that the pentagram is a sign of magic and creation?
It's exactly what it is used for, because for any form of magic to be really effective, these 5 elements needs to come in play. So before you start, you must make sure that you have them, you must recognize them before you start to push your intentions into them, because everything in nature is made of these 5 elements. Even we humans are made of the same 5 elements. So this must be in every spiritual shrine you go to. I believe in almost all part of the world, these 5 elements must be represented in one form or the other. It is the basic foundation stone of any kind of magic, the 5 elements, because we are living on this earth. So any shrine you go to, I must always see these 5 elements represented in one form or another. Once you know this as a foundational principle, you can be able to work with almost any magical system that you come across. Because what you need to look for is to look for the elements. Once you see them there, you know that everything is already in place then. It's just left for you to start focusing on them and pushing your intentions into the universe, or combining whatever you are combining and try to send it in the name of the 5 elements to your target or your intention. So it's a basic principle, and it is exactly what the pentagram is used for. We have the inverted pentagram, then we have the upward pentagram.
The inverted pentagram, they like it a lot in the left-hand part. What is it used for?
I think the inverted pentagram is, for me, it's actually the same thing. The left-hand people think that you bring in forces from up, you bring in them to manifest on this physical plane. Why the upward pentagram people think that you are taking things from here, you are sending the petition upward to the celestial plane. Whatever way they are doing is still the same result they are trying to achieve. Whether you invert it or you vert it, you are still trying to do something. But I think I like the inverted one more because it looks more scarier in a way and tends to throw people off. The impression of you are going somewhere dark and sinister, and most people will not want to go there.
Okay, so now we have the inverted and also the correct standing pentagram. There's also a one that has a circle. They call it a pentacle. Can you please explain that?
The pentacles, those pentacles,
yes.
There are many of them. These pentacles, there are symbols that are placed inside constricted circles. By constricted circles, I mean 2 circles. A circle inside a circle, that is a symbol inside. So you will find this very popular in Jewish Kabbalah, Judaism system. This where they have these pentacles of planetary elements. You will see all of them always in double circle. That is the way they always draw their symbols. And these pentacles are symbols that are used to contact planetary or celestial spirits. We have some from Solomon, have some from, if you open most of their books or their magic, you will see this is how they draw their symbols. And it is mostly for contacting their own pantheon of spirits and mostly celestial deities. So many of them, that is how they are in the Jewish Kabbalah magic, their own spiritual system.
Okay, I've also realized that symbolism is everywhere in every tradition. However, I also think that many of the things in the Bible are also symbolical. Do you think so too? Do you think the Bible is also symbolical in a way? Or is
Exactly.
it literal?
Yeah, the Bible actually stories an allegory of the part of the sun. By this I mean our solar system of the journey of the sun and the planetary bodies around our solar system. Jesus Christ is represented as the sun in the middle. Then the 12 disciples are the 12 zodiac signs in the solar system. So it's a simple story of how the sun travels across each zodiac sign, and at the end of the circle, it will start a new rotation. So at the end of the circle, then we say that Jesus Christ died, right? He was crucified and he was buried for 3 days. At the end of every solar cycle, the sun will seem to stop for like 3 days, and then on December 25th, it will start a new 360-day cycle. So this is what they say that Jesus Christ has resurrected again. So it's just a story for the sun, and it's an astrological story. You know, in ancient times, this is a very, very important knowledge, the knowledge of astrology, knowing how the seasons come about, how the earth moves around the zodiac signs. So ancient people during those days, they want to tell this important story to their children, and they cannot be telling them very difficult things that there's a zodiac sign. This is what we call Aries, Pisces, Sagittarius. So you need to start teaching them from the basic level, the rudimentary level. So you tell them stories. So they tell them stories that there's a man and he's kind of a savior, and at the end of the day he dies, and they have 12 friends. So when the children grow up, they begin to study astrology, they now see the correlation of this story and the greater principles. They now understand because they understand it better because they have a basic foundation. They have been intimated with this story when they were young. So they know it by rote. So it's easy for them to catch up very quickly later in life. So this is a story that ancient people were telling their children all over the world. So what the Christian people did is that they took this story and they personified it to look like a real story that it actually happened, that they tried to take places from real life or settlement and countries and put it inside the story. It did not really happen. So it was just astrology, nothing more, nothing less. So if you know the story of astrology, you will know that Jesus Christ never existed. And this story was copied from, the first instance was from the ancient Egyptian spirituality of the story of Horus and Osiris. That is where you get this original story from. There's a book called 16 Crucified Saviors. 16 other deities have copied exactly the same story of Jesus Christ with 12 disciples, and they died at a particular point. Jesus Christ was the last person, the youngest deity to copy the same story. So this is just an allegory, symbolic story. It never happened. That is why you can never find any artifacts or any evidence from the time of Jesus Christ in any museum, because nobody in the Bible ever existed. It was the Jews that wrote this story, then they wrote the Old Testament. They lied about their history, tried to write themselves into history like they are the original people of God. No, none of those things actually happened. It was just a fable that was created.
Okay. Since that you mentioned that the stories actually come from ancient Egypt, I was about to ask you because have you read a book Dead by Terence McLaughlin? It talks of European history. Oh, okay. In that European history, there's many things that they talk about. So I'll give you the book and then you can read for yourself. So when I read that book, I started to question how would the European or the Christians write such a powerful thing with so much allegories and so accurate to a point whereby it's easily reconcilable with spiritual concepts. So that's what I wanted to ask.
They actually plagiarized it. They came to ancient Africa and they plagiarized this work. They copied it and changed some things, put their name on it, and put this fake Jesus, and they have to force it down the throats of the whole world like it's original stuff. So it's a plagiarized work. That is why they don't want people digging into Egypt, because that is where you're going to find all their secrets, where they stole this from. They keep telling you in Christianity that Egypt is evil. They tortured Israelites for 400 years. There's so many lies that they are very wicked people, that they are evil, demonic people, so that you should not go and dig into Egypt. But when you go into Egypt, you find out that the Israelites are actually the evil people, and they were never in Egypt. They just went there to steal spiritual concepts, and you find out the truth for yourself. They don't want people to study Egypt.
Okay. I want to ask you another thing. Have you heard of DNA activation?
DNA activation?
DNA, yes, DNA activation.
If I have heard about it, that is for women. It has to do with the women reproductive system, how to activate it for their own personal ascension or personal spiritual evolution. I've heard about it. Some women practice it.
Oh, okay. Now let's talk about sacred geometry. The shapes we have spoken about, I've noticed a pentagram in a pawpaw, a papaya. When you cut off a papaya, there's a pentagram star inside of it. What does that symbolize in a papaya?
We are trying to talk about sacred geometry in plants.
Yes.
We have this Fibonacci sequence too. You see in nature, These are simply perfect alignments that we can find in natural elements, as in plants, as in fruit, even in the earth, we see this. These are things that occur, geometric patterns that occur naturally in nature. So people have been fascinated about this. They are actually saying how nature can be so perfect to just create such an exact patterns that are very, very precise. Well, this is nature. We get everything from nature. There's nothing new under the sun. So it's only natural that we will see plants, we will see leaves, we will see animals that have perfect geometric shapes from time to time. In fact, I believe ancient philosophers will get most of these uh, geometric patterns from natural elements and plants. So it's things that occur in nature. We attribute them to God. We cannot explain the sources. God, everything that we get from this planet, we did not create them. They just occur naturally. So it's a natural phenomenon. And we can actually learn a lot of things from these symbols. We can learn how to actually use them to improve our life or to build structures that we have these symbolisms in them. And we have been doing that. We can also look into space. We see some of these planets, these stars, the way they are aligned in a certain way that emits certain energetic qualities or characteristics. That if we can incorporate these characteristics into architecture, they can actually influence or change people. So one thing I have come to discover about the sacred geometry is that these plants or these symbols, every symbol have a specific effects on the psychic of human beings. So you can actually use them to manipulate or advance or to direct, to get humans to behave in a certain way if you want to, by exposing to a certain type of symbol at a certain point in time. Like if you see the symbol of the pyramid now,
Yeah.
what does that symbolize? It symbolizes perfection. It symbolizes power. Actually, the pyramid, the meaning of that word, I've forgotten the Egyptian word, but it means house of fire. That is what it means, house of fire. Uh, and it is something that is always bringing out, stimulating you to want to go further in life, to want to uh, discover and explore and bring out the best in you, your creativity to the highest level. So it's a symbol that is very, very empowering, and it has many spiritual, physical properties. The fact that the Great Pyramid was built in Egypt and this middle of the world is not by accident. And I believe what that was able to do for them is that it was designed to be able to create a kind of positive charge to the people living in that place, to aspire to greater things in life. So they were kind of using that symbol to charge themselves. That is why they have a very high level of spirituality and knowledge and wisdom. So this is like a generator. Then I've come to discover that in ancient times, if you study ancient architecture, the way most of these ancient temples in Egypt, in parts of the world, in Cambodia, and even in Latin America, the Aztec temples, they were not just built for beautification purposes. These temples, they were actually built to align with certain uh, constellations in the universe, in our planetary systems, and at certain places we call ley lines in the earth. These are energetic points of power. We are a place whereby 2 or 3 junctions will meet. There's a kind of vibration that comes out for those places. We call them ley lines. So when you build a certain temple there and you do rituals there, you do rites, you can actually send messages into the universe quicker and faster. They are very, very fast there. That is part of the reason you see people doing rituals at 3 road junctions, 4 road junctions, because these are places where forces or energies from different places meet. So there's a kind of energetic vibration these places emit as a meeting point. So when you push a will or a desire into these particular spots, it goes quickly into the universe and it amplifies faster. So that is why people use these places as gateway. There are books that I've read that scientists have even discovered that if you explode a device, a bomb at such kind of junctures, the bomb it amplifies the yield of the bomb. I've had books like science have discovered that if you explode a nuclear device at these ley lines, the yields can go up to 40 or 50% more than you explode it inside a ley line. So these places are actually places of power. That's why so many people do sacrifices on the junctures. And ancient people, the way they build their houses, they don't just build houses the way we build this day, whereby they will just get a piece of land and just draw something beautiful and just build a house because they want to stay. When they want to build the houses, they make sure that it aligns with the natural environment and it aligns with the celestial bodies in the sky. So depending on what they want to build, if it's a temple for praying, then make sure that they build it in such a way that the sun and the moon can be visible at certain points. They can be able to see the sun. They can be able to direct the rays of the sun to wherever they need it to be in the temple. They can be able to have full view of the moon, the journey of the moon that is moving, especially if it's going to be a full moon. They can be able to see it very well, and the light of the moon can be able to come into that temple directly so that they can be able to do rituals with it. So they take all this into consideration. They take ventilation into consideration. They don't have AC, so they have to build it in alignment in a way that the winds can be able to go in and there will be enough oxygen circulation. So when they build these places, these are actually they build it like a circuit board and vibrates power and a place that you can actually send signals and receive signals across not even these heads between other planetary bodies. Like if you see the alignment of the three pyramids in ancient Egypt, it aligns totally with the star system, Orion constellation system in our solar system, the one they call the three wise men.
Definitely.
Those three stars. So you see that the pyramids were built in alignment with them. So they are kind of venerating this very constellation and maybe using as a source of inspiration, or maybe they're actually communicating with entities or spirits in those constellations. And we have seen cases of people building temples that we have a certain constellation, then we build it into the architecture of the temple so that they can get certain energetic qualities from that constellation. And we also see this in modern day architecture. People that are aware of this sacred science, they still use it today in their buildings. We can take this modern day Freemasons in America. If you check the architectural structure of America, it was built with sacred geometry. They didn't just build the Washington state and some notable places, the Pentagon, and even New York. All this, they actually take the advantage of sacred geometry and they build it in alignment with these certain shapes and certain astrological bodies. So the aim of this is to produce a kind of energetic quality that will motivate people to carry out a certain particular function. They also use these sacred geometries in their universities, and you can see this in Harvard University, Massachusetts. You can see this in Oxford University. They made use of sacred geometries so that when people come to the places to learn, they will actually be understanding what they are learning. We see this in certain hotels that people build. You want to build a resort. You want people to come and feel relaxed and enjoy themselves in your resort. You can use sacred geometry to actually build it. I have seen this in places that I have gone to, that when people come there, they will feel very comfortable. They don't want to leave. You can actually, I have seen this a lot in Thailand, people applying these sacred geometry principles in architecture. And due to the fact that I am spiritual, I can recognize all these things. But if you are not, you will not know. You just love the design, but you don't know that this person actually took advantage of sacred geometry and working for them. So I tell people, if I want to build a house, I'm going to also use this sacred geometry to build my house because it's very good. It will save you a lot of things. Maybe you want to build a school or you want to build a business. You have to look for the constellation. If it's school, you find out the constellation that controls knowledge. For it will be Aquarius.
Yes.
Something like that. So you're going to take the star sign of Aquarius and you're going to build the school in alignment with this very symbol, so that when students come to your school to learn, they will become more intelligent than other schools that don't take advantage of this. That is the idea. In Europe, you see a lot of ancient churches make use of sacred geometry a lot in Europe, and they build these churches on ley lines, especially the Catholic Church. They know about this science and they use it a lot. So they don't just build those churches, they will build the church as a place that they have meeting point of energy. That they are going to build it in alignment with sacred geometry. So when people come to the church, they feel peace, they pray, their problems are solved. They will think that it is God that is actually answering the prayers for them. They don't know that they actually, the builders of the church are actually tapping into metaphysics to advance their will and do their work. So a lot of churches in Europe are using this sacred geometry as well. It's a very good science that is very, very practicable and should be adopted.
Okay. Going deeper into symbolism, I've noticed that symbols have a sound equivalent, a numerical equivalent, a geometrical equivalent, because the basis of a symbol, it's vibration, and vibration can be molded into anything and everything. Have you had instances whereby you can just put your hand over a symbol and then you can feel the vibration from the symbol?
Yes, yes. There are symbols that have been designed to emit a strong vibration that you can actually feel them, especially if you are connected to them in a way. Some symbols are also gateways. In the world of spirits, we are in the world of imagination. Imagination work by symbols. We visualize, we don't read things. Reading is too slow for the imagination. So everything we imagine is visualizing it. As you visualize, you are actually seeing it coming into existence. When we even read, as we read information on the book, we actually visualize this information to get a better and clearer understanding of this information. So you can actually see symbols. We have some very powerful symbols that resonate with you, with humans, with people. So we use a lot of symbolism in spirituality. In fact, spirituality and symbolism cannot be separated. Yes, when people see certain image, it triggers a part of them, something in them that can open up or they can resonate with. And also too, certain symbols are coded in a DNA sequence, in different DNA sequence that are already embedded in us. So when you focus on a certain kind of symbol, you are actually trying to expand or interact with a certain part of nature, a certain part of you that you want to focus on. So a very good symbol that is connected to humanity and your DNA sequence in a way it might have powerful effects on you to a certain extent. So when I post pictures, sometimes I post symbols there's a reason I post them, because I want people to see those symbols. And when people see the symbol, it kind of gets into their conscious mind, and they begin to think and contemplate the symbol. And when they contemplate the symbol, it opens an aspect of them that maybe they have not thought about before, or they don't know exists. And then they start thinking, and their imagination is broadening. And then they start exploring to know more about the symbol, and then the symbol takes them to another part of their journey. So symbols are very, very good in spirituality. We have thousands of symbols, and we use them to communicate. Another aspect of symbolism, we have what they call a mark or a sign. That everything in nature have a sign. In the world of humans, we have this thing they call signature.
Oh yeah.
This signature can also be a symbol that humans use to communicate with each other, to prove that they are in agreement with each other. When you want to open a bank account, you must have a signature. This signature can be regarded as your personal symbol, that once you put this symbol on any paper or any document, it means that you are bounded by that document. So we all have symbols in the physical world that we use for communication and for going into contracts or agreements. In the spirit world, every spirit have their own symbol. Those spirits have the same symbol. It's just like a phone number, and everybody have their own unique phone numbers that you can use to exactly. That is your symbol. Which one is that?
It's the sigil of Aquaman. I don't know if you heard of Aquaman, a spirit of. They call him the evil mind. So he's a spirit responsible for developing psychic abilities and conscious thought.
Good. So that is his symbol now. You see, he has his own symbol, and you find out that no other spirit have the same symbol with them. Just like nobody will have your phone number with you. So that is how it works. So when you want to contact this spirit now, you have to draw that symbol. You can either vibrate the symbol or you focus your attention on it. Then you bring your 5 elements in place and you start talking. The spirit will understand that somebody is trying to reach out to me because the person have my symbol, have my number. So we use this for communicating. In our meditation, we have certain symbols that we use to focus on where we want to meditate. So we cannot do without symbolism in spirituality.
Definitely. Symbolism and spirituality are interlinked.
Yes.
So have you worked with spirits of the Luciferian Pantheon?
So I don't know that spirit. The thing is that I don't really work with, because I have a lot of spirits that I have made contact with in the past, and I think they are a bit too much for me. So I don't really want to go into more spirits now, because the ones that I have not even discovered many things about them. So for me to be adding more spirits to my Pantheon, it's not what I think is really okay for me to do now. So I just focus on the ones that I have. Besides, the ones that I have, they can be able to do pretty much anything other spirits can do for me. And so far, they have been forthcoming. They have been delivering above, exceeding my expectations. So they have been surprising me. So why do I want to go for any new spirits when the ones that I have are doing everything, are shocking me every day? If I tell you what they are doing, wow. So I think this spirit that I have now, they are okay. But if any new one wants to come, they can come. But I don't want to go after new spirits now.
Yes.
Things that on my own, I cannot even have time for them enough. So for me to now be adding new Pantheons to where do I want to put them? It's going to cause a problem. If you go into having too many spirits, there will time you cannot have time for all of them.
Yes.
So it can result to something else. So I just want to work with a few spirits. Spirits that I work with now, they are not more than 10. My ancestors are there. Those legions are there on their own. Then I have some spirits that I have packed with. Then Santisma Moriete is there. Ra is there. Lucifer Hamimon is there. I have some spirits that are there. Even some I don't even talk to. Some may not be even happy, but I still remember all of them. So I have some really powerful spirits that are with me that I don't even talk to. So I don't want to call any new spirits into my Pantheon.
I want to ask you something. This is a question from one of my subscribers. That forest that we were talking about, this person wants to know where is that forest. The one.
The evil forest.
Yes, the evil forest.
Evil forest. There's in Nigeria we have so many. This is just a piece of forest that people will separate out and say at this place it's an evil forest. It's just a piece of forest, regular forest, but it has been chosen for a particular purpose. It has been separated or banded that this is where we are going to be burying evil people. This is what I'm going to be putting evil things. Then we just say this is an evil forest. That is how they have. If you want to find that, you come to Nigeria, I can take you to so many evil forests. We still have some of them. Now, we have sacred forests, we have evil forests. Evil forest is very, very bad people that commit abominations. But now, due to the new life we are living now, people don't follow tradition much anymore. So many of those places have been destroyed. They have been bulldozed. They have created buildings and infrastructure, especially churches have taken them over. People don't believe all those things anymore. But we still have some of them till now. We still have some evil forests that people are still afraid of, and they are still the way they are.
Definitely. Okay, going back to this subject of symbolism. Do you know anything about the six-pointed star, the hexagram?
The hexagram is another style of communication. All these symbols, the pentagram, the hexagram, the octagram, they have different uses. They have different purposes. They are different geometric design. Even the cube, the four-sided cube, tetrahedron, the what they call the Megatron cube. They all have different spiritual meaning and different symbolism. So you have to find them at Google and find what they use them for. You can use them for a variety of purposes. We have 9 point, 10 point. It all depends on the meaning you attribute to it. It all depends on the meaning. So,
okay, I have a method of actually finding out how it works pretty well, and I got some of the clues about the six-pointed star, that being the hexagram. I've noticed that number 6 is a number of balance and harmony, and another thing is that that hexagram is made up of a star facing down and a star facing upwards. So usually in symbolism and occult symbolism, the upward facing triangle symbolizes the male principle, and then the lower facing triangle symbolizes the female. So them coming together is what, my brother?
Union, yes, copulation, bringing life, same as in hand. I see the symbol, or you can see this in the major symbol of Freemasonry, of the compass, the two compass mixing. So that is their main symbol, trying to bring life, creation, creativity, or something like that, whatever they are bringing. So I think it's a good symbol. People have different symbols to express their ideas. Like me, my symbol, you see mine is that of the spaceman holding the hand. So that is the vision of what we say my dream, my grand desire, or what I've seen for the direction of African spirituality. That is, with this symbol, we are going to be able to explore outer space and be able to make our presence known in outer space. So I choose that symbol for a great many things. because I believe that we should not just limit our vision to just this planet. The destiny for mankind, for humanity, is to explore outer space and to transmit, to carry life to outer space, to populate the rest of the planets in our solar system, and even furthermore. If you look at our solar system, you see the rest 9 planets, they are all empty. Nobody's living there. And we are the only ones that have life. Our destiny is to transmit some of this life we have here to other places, to carry it and give it to other planets, to populate the rest of the planet, and to explore through ourselves to occupy those planets. That is the destiny for humanity. But we have not even started yet. We have not even scratched the surface. We are still fighting over skin color. We are still some evil, very low-minded. You can see the mentality of the elites controlling us. You see what we have been given, this vast universe to explore. But some greedy people want to just tie everything down. You see the mentality of these people, these evil people, very low-minded. Yes. Religion has tied us down for over 2,000 years. We have not been able to even plant a single tree on the moon. We have not been able to do anything on Mars, even Venus, even to build a better spaceship, nothing. Our growth has been stifled. So I see my dream is that our spirituality is that symbol of love, of unity. That is what we are going to take with us, the key of life to outer space. So with that symbol, we can be able to explore outer space and exert our influence on outer space. So that is why I adopt that symbol as my symbol, and I believe I'm the first person to have that symbol. It's unique. There have never been any spaceman holding Hank before. I'm the first spaceman that we carry in Hank to outer space. So that is why I use it as my symbol. So when I talk about African spirituality, I'm not just limiting myself to only Africa. I'm looking at it with a universal view, a celestial view, vision. And I believe African spirituality contains all the properties, all the materials, all the science and the power and the technology that we can be able to achieve this dream. If we look into African spirituality, we can be able to find solutions to achieve this very aim of becoming, of stepping into our destiny as galaxy explorers or guardians of the galaxy. So that is my grand vision. That is why I choose that symbol. You see in Western occultism, the major symbol is the inverted pentagram or skull. You can see a ram skull, a goat skull, a human skull. Many of them choose this human skull. You see all sort of horrible skulls that people are using. The ancient spiritual, there's a reason for that. They use those skulls to terrify people and to scare people out of spirituality. When you go to certain shrines, we have them now in Africa, you're going to see a human skull with a symbol, sign, with some scary stuff. It's trying to tell you that this place you have to be careful. This is not an ordinary place. You have to take this issue seriously. This thing is dangerous. When you look on the pages of many grimoire, you're going to see a skull in the front, a dead skull, some terrible spirits. What this is telling you is that you should be careful with this very thing you are going into. It is not for the feeble-hearted or feeble-minded. So they use these horrible symbols to scare people, to let people know that this is serious business. It's not something to be stifled with. So most times when people see these symbols, they run away. When you see a book, you see a skull on the book or a ghost or something deadly, most people will not want to read that book anymore. So only people that have a very strong mind will open that book.
Can you please hold somebody calling me?
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, you can call me.
Perfecto, I'm back now. I'm sorry, there was somebody that I
I
had to
understand.
So yes, you were talking about what? I forgot.
Yeah, I'm just talking about symbols that are used in spirituality and black magic and to scare people. How people use the skull or bones of dead animals or some kind of scary images to let people know that the path of spirituality is something very serious to consider, not something for everybody. That's not for the feeble-minded or faint-hearted. That you have to really take it seriously. So when you see these symbols, you should know that you are crossing a line that is very dangerous, that you cross into the spirit world and you can never turn back or you have to play by the rules. So it's not for somebody that is not serious or you say you want just to, for a tourist or a dabbler. So this to keep out dabblers for, to make sure that it's for only serious-minded people. That's why you see people using the skull, using these horrible symbols to represent spirituality. And these are actually taking root in the spirits, in the magic community. So I see people use it. I understand why they use it, but I choose to use the hank because I don't want to scare people away.
Yes.
I want to give it a kind of impression that is something that is easy, understandable. So to bring people in, that when they get to a certain level, that discourage that there are some aspect of it that is deep. Some people get in, they think it's easy. When they get to a certain point, they run away. But at least they still learn something. So my aim is to draw people in to the part of African spirituality, and making it look easy and friendly. But if they see what they like so far, they can continue. But if they get to a certain point, they say, no, this is getting so deep, they are free to go back. But eventually, you're going to get to the deep side of the pool, whether you like it or not. So, like when I started spirituality, I jumped in straight into the deep side of the pool. I didn't really know what to expect. When I discovered the folly of Christianity, I just went straight into Western Black, the deepest aspect. And I survived. Many people warn you that if you get in shatter, you should be ready for any consequences. Actually, I was ready. And what saved me, I didn't go in for money or fame. I went in because I want to really know the knowledge and know what is really going on. So if you have that kind of mindset, I think you will be safe in practicing spirituality if you don't have any ulterior motive.
Yes.
You're going to be safe when you step in.
Okay, I want to talk about something now, just to make sure that I remember it in our next video. This will be our next topic on the next video. Okay, superstitions. Okay, I've noticed something about superstitions and how people often come to us, maybe a spiritual practitioner. They want you to do a ritual for them, and then there's a form of vulnerability that they emit, which leaves them vulnerable to our manipulation and mind control.
Exactly.
Thereby, it makes us to terrify them to formulate superstitions about such practices. Yes, I want to talk about that. Have you had experiences with people whereby you encountered that? Yes.
Yeah, I have seen that a lot. If you are in the spiritual path, you're going to meet people are going to meet you for solving these same problems, some unbelievable problems, some impossible things, and some things that are outright crazy. Most people will come that they want wealth, they want spells to make them rich, to make them millionaires. Some we want beautiful women, especially money. Most people that come is for money. But you have to tell them life does not work like that. Most times you see people asking for these spells. These are people that are having difficulty in life. Most times things are getting serious. Everybody wants money. Even me, I want money. They're having their belief, what they see on TV, that if you do a particular spell, you're going to be a millionaire overnight. It does not happen like that. If you want to be rich, you must have a very good plan, a very clever plan, and based on your situation and what you are into, will determine how fast you can be rich. If you are somebody that is close to wealth, you are in a place where you have access to wealth, or you see it, or you are in control, they have high chances of you becoming richer than faster than somebody that have no access to wealth. Somebody that is doing a business of, let's say, $300 a month, and you want to become a millionaire, the chances of you becoming a millionaire is very, very slim, except you're already doing business that involve you handling large volumes of cash. So all these things needs to come into consideration. So when you see this kind of people, you have to be realistic with them. Or what most spiritualists will do, they will tell you that everything you want will be solved because they want money from you. They will tell you it can be possible, but you need to give them money first to do a certain thing before yours will work. So that is where the scam is. So that is how they scam people. They take people's money from them. You'll be seeing all these things. I've seen people ask me for different things. If I want to be a bad person, I could have easily tell them stories and they will give me money. It's very easy. Somebody that is in problem, trust you, will believe anything you tell them. If you tell them that this is possible, and if you do one or two things within his reach, his problem will solve. They will find every way to give you that money. If the person wants to be a millionaire, I say, okay, this ride is going to cost you $500 or $1,000, and then really that for $1,000 I can have 1 million. They will give you that $1,000 if you can convince them a lot. So many people will do this. So that is how spiritualists they take money from people. When you pay that money, they will tell you that you still need to do some other things. And you pay second payment, you pay third payments. At the end of the day, you get tired. That is how they scam people. So we have people that are always vulnerable that will come to you. So you have to tell them the truth. Some people don't want the truth.
Yes, they don't.
Some have different destinies. Some are looking for somebody to teach them a better lesson. Some want to take advantage. They don't really want to work. When you tell them what to do to be realistic, some people believe that this blood money thing, they want to join secret cults. I get those ones a lot, that they think I'm a member of a secret society. They want initiation so that they can get money. They can be like you. These are the people that actually end up killing other people to make money. They are very desperate. I see them as weak souls. They are ready to do anything for money. Those are the ones that will come. I normally block those people. They want to join cults. Young boys, they want to kill people. They want to be rich. It does not happen like that. If you're going to do that, you're going to go straight into ritual killing, and that is a very, very bad path to go into. We see these people. We see vulnerable people, people wanting love, people wanting jobs. What I encourage them to do to be more practical. If you want to be rich, you need to strategize your skill. What value can you add to humanity? If you have a particular skill that you are doing, or you need opportunities to explore that skill to let people know you, we can really work on that. There are many things you can do to work on that to bring your awareness to people. But if you're just looking for magic money, there's nothing we can do about that. You will have to go further down the line. So that is the way I tell them. For the intelligent ones, they take this advice and things work well for them. For the other ones, they go to other places where they get scammed and then learn a bitter lesson, and they see that it is not what is not possible will not be possible.
Okay, going back to our topic, I heard you mention something about outer space. Here's my opinion. It's just an opinion on this. Planets are symbolized as different vibrations of frequency, right? And you have a different vibration for each and every planet. Do you think it's possible to go to that planet physically, whereby another planet might be just a different frequency vibration? Is it possible to go physically with a spacesuit, with a rocket? Is it possible?
Why not? Is it not what our people are trying to do? Astronauts, is it not what astronauts are trying to do? Astronauts that have been to space or been to the moon, they say that the moon does not have gravity, but they say there's gravity in Mars. So is there gravity in Mars? We can actually walk, we can actually, there's water in Mars, we can actually live there. They just need to find out more about the weather. The weather is not like Earth weather, not like rain falling or the weather we are used to. So if we can be able to adapt to the weather, I think people can live there. If there's oxygen there, people can breathe, people can walk. Why not? That means we can actually grow crops in the planet. We can actually take animals from Earth and rear them in that planet. We just need to find out how the planet system works and adjust our body system to it, and we live there. In the Earth now, we have different kind of climates. We have very harsh climates. We have dry climates. We have deserts. Are people not living in the deserts? There's no water there, but we find people living there. There's a serious snow in the Antarctica region. We find people, humans are living there. If we can endure these harsh climates on the Earth, I don't see why we cannot stay Mars or we cannot stay any other planets that have gravity and oxygen. As far as we have gravity and oxygen, we will find a way we can stay in those planets. I believe there are other planets that are like Earth as well that we can also be able to live in. And I also believe we are not the only humans on this planet. I believe there are other life forms in other planets that are also living like us, discovering and also exploring the galaxy and spreading life to other places. So I think it's all possible, and I believe that is the next step for us to go. Already people are building rockets. Everybody, this is a space age. My symbol also symbolizes that we are now inside the space age. We should not be looking at this planet anymore. So the symbol is very deep for me.
Okay.
Of course, everyone now at that race now.
Okay, do you know of the Dogoni tribe from Mali?
The Dogon tribe?
Yes.
Yes, I know about the Dogon. They are very popular for discovering the Sirius A and Sirius B and the galactic stellar calendar.
Yes.
Yes,
We
have
have
that knowledge.
Baba here, a Baba by the name Credo Mutwa. He's a Zulu Baba. He says something like what the Dogons have said. They say that the first humans, or rather us, the Africans, we come from the planet Mars.
I heard about it.
Yes, and
Sirius
Sirius
A or Sirius B. That is where they say we have a legend that our ancestors came from that star system. So I will not be surprised if some ancient people also came here to populate this planet from another planet. So it's very, very possible. Because there are so many empty planets, they have discovered that there's life force, it's possible for life to thrive here. So they come here and they started this planet, maybe bring some life, exported life here. It's also possible for us to also export life to another planet that is empty. If we discover a planet that is like Earth in our solar system, we too can also go there, get some people there, get some animals and some crops, and we start to populate that planet as well. Then maybe 200 million years later, we'll become legends that some gods came from planet Earth. They start worshiping us and they started life in Mars. We're going to have our own story on the planet too. So it's very possible. I will not argue with that. I will not argue with that.
It's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting.
It's where we are going. There are so many empty planets you see. Nobody is staying. We need to build spaceships. We need to go to those places. I think they are okay. We start life there. We start farms. We start colony. We bring some people. The people we have children before they live here 500 years. They already have their own planet. So our destiny, I believe, is to populate these empty planets and export life to them, or create new life forms. We can also do that too, as well. So that is what I believe for mankind to do.
Okay. In conclusion, I'd like to tell everyone that symbolism and spirituality is interrelated, and most of the spiritual concepts are not to be literally taken. Just to keep an open mind and to be open for new interpretations. You learn many things in spirituality. Do you also think so? Do you
Yeah,
also think
I totally agree. Yes, symbolism and spirituality are totally one and the same. In the spirit world, we use symbols to communicate. So when we see symbols, we associate every spiritual entity have symbol, every human have their symbol, have their what you call CJ. So this is how we communicate in the spirit world. By reflecting on the symbol, you are actually aligning yourself with the vibration of that symbol, and you can actually have a telepathic communication with that symbol to exchange and transmit information to each between each other. So symbols can be said to control our life, and we humans are symbolic in nature. It's the language of the imagination. So we should try to perfect that aspect of us and be using it to enhance our spirituality.
okay? I'd like to thank you for joining me today, and I'd also like to thank the people who subscribe both on my channel and on your channel. I'd like to give peace to each and every one of you guys, and thank you for the support. Thank you, Efe, for joining me. Namaste.
Take care. See you next time.
See
Have a
you.
wonderful day. Goodbye. Okay. Well, nice.